Future troubles for the crew to blow smoke or ideas your way. Amp up your problem solving skills with us.
Hello, it is September 21st, 2024, 11:05 and 24 seconds. Oh, how funny that was. I actually started the stream like 3 times or 4 times. Brian was watching me in Zoom. He knows I did that. So what happened is there's 2 buttons for me to press to start the stream. One that kicks off the bumper, and the button that I press on the stream deck to begin the selected stream, it can't be a multi-function button. It has to be a single purpose.
John Williams said, hello, Doug.
Hello, John. So I was pressing it every time, I think every time. And then the last time when I thought that that button was the problem, when I pressed it, I saw that it didn't begin the stream. So I just began the stream manually and the bumper cut in midstream. Yeah, well, I was going to say we'll give Doug a pass on that one, but no, I know you're not going to give me a pass. September 21st, 2024 on a Saturday. I already said hello to a bunch of people in chat. William Dawson, lucky number 1.
Jim KJ3N said, so even though I was late, I was on time.
Yeah, sure you were. Chris Garrett saying Elvira, that was the trailer. There's a link in the description of the video.
Algie Stiffage said, hello, Uncle Doug. I hope you have a great day.
Well, hello, Aliage, and I hope so too. I really do. Hello, Tim Cruz. It says happy Saturday, Tim Sal. We got 2 Tims, double your Tims, double mint, double Tim gum. Is that a gum? Double Tim gum?
Official Tim Tech said, hello, Uncle Doug.
Hello, Tim. And let's see, Elvira's looking for Tim Sal. Tim says, good, cool, get to watch today. He's number 5. He's not going to be on Zoom because he's got a noisy tree service. Chris Garrett, Selden Ball, Mike Wojcik, Jim KJ3N, waiting for the train wreck. Yeah, you didn't get to see the train wreck. You got to not see the train wreck. The screen was blank. Oh, here we go. Oh, let's see, I want to do this. So we're at 2:40 into the stream. I'll come over here and say jokes at 2:40. 2:50 by the time I get there. Yeah, right. I will get better at that. An electric train leaves Fresno headed east to Indianapolis. I've heard this one before. All along the route, the wind is also blowing east. Yeah, maybe not so much. Which direction does the smoke go? Oh, an electric train leaves Fresno. An electric train doesn't blow smoke. I got you. I got you, Brian.
Aljusta Page said, no smoke, LOA.
Yeah. I heard that speaker bot say LOA, but he typed LOL. Brian says he got it in chat. Ran Israel. Tim Sal says, I get ads now when I watch from work. Started last week. Oh, that's interesting. I've been queuing up ads. I don't think I pressed an ad for that joke part. Has it started for anyone? Yeah, this is people waiting. I didn't know that the stream was. I was talking away until I saw in chat people saying there's no stream not started yet. I looked down at OBS and saw, yeah, it wasn't there. No ad. I hear audio, but no video stream. What? Oh, yeah, because Brian's in Zoom, so he could hear the audio, but the video wasn't coming through. Not even on Zoom. Oh, that's weird. Greg M, hello. Dougbot, hello. Selden Ball, Brian, let's do any other names? Alias, John Zavimanor, hello. Delay of less than 7 minutes, not considered late. Not for government work. Cesar Montero, hello. And Israel, World War II plane training session at Modesto Airport yesterday and today. I have been at the Modesto airport. I have flown into it. Me as the pilot. All right. Go back and look at topics. Topics are listed a little different today. If you look in the description of the video, I'm using the time stamps. And I think you're going to come to understand timestamps more as I go forward with this. But there's still numbers here. On Saturday, you can still request topics based upon numbers that are on the left edge. So I don't need to take these in the order that I draft them. And this is the first time that I've actually put zeros in the draft. So if you see any topics in the description that you're more interested in than others, then go ahead and request that in chat. I'm going to bring the people in Zoom on. I have a second person in Zoom. And since I've got to redo things, let's see, I'm going to turn on their, oh, you know what? Yeah, thank you for reminding me, speaker body just talked in my ear to do an ad break. If I do the ad breaks, then they get put in at places where I think they're convenient rather than YouTube putting them in where YouTube wants to. So that's the reason for that. So let's see. I think that's right for microphone output. And then this goes for my headset, and then bring that up and then go do my 2 columns, 2 rows. And that gets it right. Hello, Brian.
Good morning.
And I looked at the audio graphic analyzer, and it tells me that they heard you. And it even was showing your keystrokes because you just put in a chat message. Yeah. So I get a warning when you're doing that. Did you have any opening comments or topics?
No, I'll be here just for a little while. Then I got to bug out.
All right. Yeah, I'm seeing your audio bouncing into the yellow, but in my ear, it sounded a little loud. So in the chat room, tell me if the Zoom audio, Zoom participants' audio is too loud or okay. Hello, Bill Dawson.
Hello.
How are you today?
Okay, I just had a question about whether you need a email account to open up, install 365 on someone's computer.
Do you need an email account to open 365 on someone's computer?
Install it.
To install it. You can, let's see, have I tried to install it without an account? The thing is that I always need to sign into the company account of my clients and install it, but I don't have to activate the license. So I need to sign into the Office 365 website and I can install the software onto the computer. But then when you launch, I usually use Microsoft Word. When you launch Microsoft Word, you'll have to sign into the account that you want to use a license for. So I sometimes will go to the office.com site and install the software using a different account than what the end user is going to be using. And then when I first open Microsoft Word on that computer, I'll sign in with the account that the end user is going to use. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, because they didn't leave me a valid password to the email address they gave.
Yeah, so you could use your own Office account to install it. However, there is a difference, I believe. I haven't tested this, but I believe there's a difference as to what kind of an account that you're installing from. If you go to office.com and install from a personal office.com and they have a business application, I think that's not going to work.
Yeah, they're trying to import their current 365 thing.
I did not understand that. Say again?
That they're trying to import their current 65.
They're trying to import their current 365.
Right, machine and never had it.
She's never had it. Okay, well, is it going to be a personal account, a family account, or a business account That makes a difference when you install the software. You need to be in, I'm pretty sure you need to download it and install it from a account on Microsoft on office.com, the same type of account, either personal, family, or business account. And
And
then,
to top it off, they want to put administrator and user accounts on there.
okay, I'm not sure if there was a question in that. You said they want to put an administrator and user accounts on there. Yeah. And the administrator account doesn't necessarily have to have a license, doesn't have to pay for a license. You can have an admin account on the business Microsoft 365 that doesn't have any licenses, and then just create user accounts and assign licenses to the users for what they're going to use. Any follow-up questions on that, or does that cover you?
Yeah, just still trying to figure out how exactly it's set up, because it's giving the computer to a relative, and we're going to pass it under my uncle, but he's not that good with computers. He can mess them up, not
Okay,
knowing what he's doing.
okay. So I'm trying to figure it out whether there was a question in that or not.
That's this question: how is about set all this up there? Because they want to do it in a cheap, but
They want to do a cheat, cheap, inexpensive. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, the best value way is to do a family account, because a family account, last I looked, was like $99 a year. An individual account is around $70 a year. So with an individual account, you're locked into one email address, one Microsoft 365 account. Even if you cheat and have multiple people signing in with that same account, but that if you do that, they're going to be able to see each other's documents, and that's just kind of creepy and weird. But the Microsoft Family account is amazing value because
Greg M said, why do they not just put LibreOffice on this computer?
Okay, we'll get to that in a minute, Greg. Not a bad idea. If they use a Microsoft Family account for $99 a year, that means the first person has it installed on their computer. They can share it with 5 other people. Each of Brian, could you mute your microphone? Each of those, yeah, I'm hearing you breathe. That's why.
I'll stop breathing.
Yeah. Your microphone, I think, adjusts when you're quiet, so it picks up your breathing. And when so you can share it with 5 people. They each use their own email addresses. They're actually creating their own Microsoft account, but you're sharing your family license with them, and they each get all of the software, and they get 1 terabyte of OneDrive space for each of them. So it's a pretty amazing value. Now, let's go on to Greg M's question. He says, why don't they just put LibreOffice on the computer? And that works and looks and works very similar to Microsoft Word. Most people, like what you described this person to be, probably aren't going to be able...
Chris Garrett said, is Brian snoring?
No, he's not. Most people are not going to be able to tell the difference, and that's free. So if you really want to do it cheap, why not do it free rather than a good deal? So with that much said, Bill, where are you at with this? What do you think?
I gather she already pays for a 365 account.
All right, then you need to find out, is she paying for a individual account or a family account? If she's paying for the individual account, she can upgrade that to the family account for about $20 a year. That's very inexpensive. That's still not as cheap as free. So is there some reason they want him on the same software that she's using? You got a response to that, Phil?
They haven't thought their plans out well.
Well, okay, I agree. They haven't thought their plans out well, but I've just given you some information to work with. So I'm assuming that you're going to be advising them on this. Is that right?
Yeah, it's my old computer. Transfer parts out of, rebuild it, got it operational, and giving to them. So now I get volunteered to try to set it up.
All right. Is there any reason why the person that it's going to, why they want that person to be using Microsoft 365 rather than
DDT 2005 said, Topic hash 9, I just sent you an email.
Okay, thank you, Dennis. Is there a reason why they want this person to be on Microsoft 365 rather than just a free word processor? Maybe you don't know yet.
That's what she's come from using, because used to work for the government, and I guess that's what she's used to using.
Okay, well then I would suggest that the next step there is to advise her, ask her if she's on Microsoft 365 individual or family, and if she's on individual, tell her that she could get a upgrade to the family edition for $20 and then share that subscription to the
Savi
person
Manor
that
said
it's
there was a
going to.
glitch in your video a 1M ago.
Thank you, Savi. That records it in chat, so I'll be able to go back and look at that on replay. All right. Does that give you enough for your next step, Bill?
Yeah, I need to get more information from them and see if it's truly where they want to go.
Yeah. Is she currently Microsoft 365 individual? If so, she can upgrade to family, or then the alternative is to install a free version of Word, of a word processor on the computer. Now, maybe they want for them to have Outlook and Excel, but the way you describe this person, it sounds like they probably don't use the computer that extensively.
He does a lot of research in that, but he also doesn't understand a lot of what.
Ran Israel said they might also consider if the free Office Online is sufficient.
Okay.
Doesn't like the name of a program, he'll delete it.
All right.
No matter where it is.
Well, all right. So that's a problem you're going to have to work with them. I don't see that I can do anything there to help with that.
Backups, 1 month backups, and have a drive big enough for mobile backups where you can go back far enough to cover.
Yeah, well, that also depends upon what's he actually going to be doing. If all of his work is web browsing, you said something about research, but that doesn't tell me, is he typing documents based upon that research? So you care about those documents being backed up?
They're trying to keep financial documents in that.
Okay, well then in that case, the Microsoft 365 gives you the ability to have OneDrive. And you could be using OneDrive as your backup. Now, some people are going to get all excited saying OneDrive is not a backup. Well, it protects against many types of losses. There are some types of losses that it doesn't protect against, but it does protect against most of the types of losses that I have actually occurred during my experience with computers. And the people who argue that it's not a form of backup typically don't really understand it very well. It is very good for what you just described. All right, I'm going to move along to another topic. If you come up with a more specific question on that later during the show, you're welcome to come back with that.
You gave me a lot of things to think about it. I need to get a table to find out what's going on.
All right. Okay, I'm going to move along to the next topic, and let's see, I think I just did hit didn't I just do an ad break? Yeah, I did. So I saw heard Dennis's speaker bot a little while ago, so I moved his item up a little bit. Still has the number 9, but I'm going to say we're starting at about 19 minutes into the show. And it had to do with I suspect that it has to do with the update from Macrium Reflect. But I was surprised that I do not have the same experience that Dennis reported yesterday. Here's what he's showing when he launches Macrium Reflect free version. I have a paid version. Reflect 10 is coming. Click here to learn more. Now, let me show you what happens on Big B's when I launch Reflect. Answer yes. And where is it coming up? What screen? Oh, there it is. I'm not getting that message at all. I don't get any message about Reflect 10 coming up. Now mine is a paid version. It's Macrium Reflect Home. His was Macrium Reflect Free, not for commercial use. He's 8.0.7783. I'm at 8.1.7847. My update settings, if I go to Edit Defaults, look over here, show a daily Windows notification when an update is available, and restart Macrium Reflect after patching. Daily check for updates. Oh, I have this one removed. Let's put that one on and see if that does it. And this is weird here. Skip update notifications for 8.1.8110, which is newer than I have. That's weird that they would put a menu option to skip a specific update. So I'm going to click OK on that. Then I'll exit or close and then relaunch it. See if that gets it. When I looked at those settings yesterday, I did not notice that that piece was unselected. So here's software updates. Macrium Reflect 8.1.8110. So that's newer than what I have. I'm not seeing version X yet, or 10. Maybe that's only in the free version lineup. Those are older versions that I'm scrolling to. Cancel. Oh, there it is. Reflect X is coming. So now I get it. Click here to learn more. Reflect X coming October 10th. Dennis keeps very up on updates that happen. I'm not nearly as concerned about updates. I'm not worried about them. If I'm not having a problem, I'm not too worried about keeping up to date on various different software programs, because there's just too many times that I've experienced where it seems to have caused a problem, or all of a sudden my computer's operating differently, and if I'm not aware of what's been updated, then that's not on my radar for a possible problem. So I tend, as you saw me do over there, is I tend to turn off automatic checks for updates. That is my personal preference. And also, I don't want it to be doing that extra work when I launch Macrium Reflect. Okay. Take a look at chat.
DDT 2005 said, I'm in no hurry to pay them.
All right. Gotcha. Jeff, I'd be real interested to discuss that with you if you want to come into Zoom and tell me why you don't consider it a real backup and get into the details of that. Because I think a lot of times when people don't consider a real backup, let's find out why. Why do you say that? There are differences, but they are kind of edge cases, I think. Selden says, since Macrium Reflect 10 is launching on the 10th day of the 10th month, I wonder what they'll do for version 13. They'll have to do it on the 13th day of the 13th month. Right? Greg says, I paid them years ago and installed the paid version on another system for Macrium Reflect. I think when you pay, it covers, well, Yeah, when you just buy a license on it before the subscription model, you got probably a certain number of years. So here we have Jeff. Let's see what he's got to say about why he doesn't consider it a real backup.
Well, I mean, you talk about a quote real backup. I think of image backup, and OneDrive certainly doesn't do that. And you're also depending, no system's perfect, but you're depending on Microsoft to always have your stuff. And
I think you locked up. I think you
it
froze.
depends how you set up OneDrive. I have a limited free account. I have a free account with OneDrive. I wouldn't pay for it.
All right.
But I do backups to external drives on my system.
Yeah.
And now they are not all image backups either. I do an image backup occasionally, but I have a script I run every day that backs up all the files that changed or were added that day. And I back it up to all external hard drives.
Yeah.
In case it fails.
You are doing other backups and you are conscientious about your backups. So
I've been burned in the past. You get burned really bad once, and it's over 20
you learn
years.
it.
But I can still feel the fire my boss lit under my butt.
Yeah. If you're dealing with people who are not conscientious about doing backups, and when they have data files that they care most about rather than an image backup, then in that environment, OneDrive can be really good. And that's a lot of what I deal with.
I consider it better than nothing. It's not terrible, but there have been instances where places like OneDrive and Dropbox and Google Drive have lost data in the past.
Jim KJ3N said, even people whom were burned don't learn.
That's true. Did you guys hear that in SpeakerBot in
Yes.
Zoom? All right, good. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard it through Zoom. I've got YouTube muted. So
The subject of backups is a very, very, it's a complicated subject. There's lots of gotchas
you noticed I
here and
said
there.
your opinion may vary, and I won't argue with your opinion if you'd like doing it that way.
My opinion varies depending upon who I'm working with, because I have lots of different backups out there. I have image backups happening. I have external drive backups happening. I have cloud backups happening. I have OneDrive backups happening. I have Google Drive happening.
You got Fabs, whatever you use sometimes.
Well, yeah, that's unfortunate. They name it Fabs Auto Backup because, well, you know what? I think
it's a specific use of restoring information about accounts, and that's a useful kind of backup too.
Yeah, it is. And it covers some things that none of the other backups do. Well, actually, that's not completely true. An image backup would include everything that Fabs does, but Fabs can take user configuration stuff and passwords, remembered passwords and stuff like that, and transfer them to a new user account. There's so many different aspects to consider. And we have Sam Lazar. Hello, Sam.
Good morning.
Good morning. You emailed me a few questions that I have set up in the topics list. Feels like a convenient time to move on to that to me. Yep. And I've got them broken out in your 3 separate questions.
Excellent. Thank you.
And let's go find him in here. Here's Sam Lazar, and I'll put in 30. I'll call that 30 minutes into the show. 3 questions. So I've got 7A, 7B, and 7C.
Cool.
What software like Time Machine, but for Windows 11? I tried Acronis, but OneDrive recovery was a mess. There's a few responses in that. Did you want to give me a little orientation to that, or should I just go with it?
Oh, yeah, I'll give you a bit of an orientation. So I tried Acronis on my laptop to recover, files back up, then recover. But then when I try to recover into the OneDrive folder, it just threw up errors. So,
all right.
Pretty much. for
Well,
Cronus?
the first thing with a OneDrive folder would be, if you're going to be backing up a OneDrive folder from a local computer, you should have it configured, OneDrive configured, so that those files are always stored on your local computer and not
Yep.
some in the cloud. So did you already have that in place?
No, I had some in the cloud and some locally. So OneDrive
Yeah.
demand.
Yeah, that'll
Yep.
cause a problem,
Okay.
because the
Cool.
backup software sees the file name, but it's just a pointer to the cloud. It's not going to download that from the cloud in order to do the backup.
Mm.
So yeah, you don't want to do that. So what you
Yeah,
would do,
I've used a Cronus, but my OneDrive is configured. It keeps it on the computer as well as in the cloud. So
yeah, so you
Okay.
should be okay then. Now, another way to handle it, if you don't want to configure it to keep all the files on your computer, you could configure the backup software to skip that folder, to not
Okay.
back up the OneDrive folder, because the OneDrive files are backed up in OneDrive. So
True.
if you trust that backup enough to not do an extra backup of it, then just exclude it from your local backup.
That's another.
Now, something that I have is I have my OneDrive account active on multiple computers. Each one of those computers says keep all the files locally. So that gives me an extra level of backup. Let's say if we're not confident that OneDrive is always going to be there, what happens if it disappears one day and my computer's damaged? Well, I've got the files on another computer because
Yep.
they're all stored there locally. So that's the way to deal with it. Now,
Cool.
if you're doing an image backup,
Mm-hmm.
your problem would come in play if you try to just do a selective file and folder but restore from that image. But if you restore the entire image, that should be restoring all of the file pointers for OneDrive. And I have done many image restorers on computers that include OneDrive on demand, and I've never come across a problem with it.
Okay, that's good.
Right?
Jim KJ3N said a lot of people don't know that local storage is an option in OneDrive.
Yes, and that is the thing about OneDrive, Jim. Thank you for pointing that out. OneDrive is not an easy to understand environment, and that's not. I'm going to say that's not intentional from Microsoft's part. They could probably have done a better job of being able to make it apparent what's going on and when troubles occur. Now, another thing that I've had happen with OneDrive, where we're using it in combination with Microsoft, what do they call it? SharePoint? SharePoint, yeah. Where multiple users signed in with different accounts are accessing the same SharePoint, and they get into a synchronization problem where one user has made changes to a file at the same time another user has, and then there's a conflict and it has to be resolved. And even on a single user edition, I have seen times where OneDrive has an exclamation mark because it's got a problem with a file that's on your OneDrive or on your computer that's in conflict or won't upload or download or something like that. So it's can be difficult for people who aren't technically inclined to figure it out.
Yeah.
So do you have clients that use SharePoint, Doug?
Yes.
I thought that was mostly enterprise level clients. I didn't know it was for smaller businesses too.
Yeah. It can be used. It can be used with business Microsoft 365
Now, do they have
accounts.
that like on a Microsoft server?
The actual servers no, we don't have local servers for it. It's all in the cloud, and it feels to me, and this is an area where I don't know it extremely in depth, but it feels to me like it's just one level above OneDrive, where OneDrive is an individual person's cloud storage. Well, the SharePoint is for the company. When we have a company Microsoft 365 account, I can utilize this. I'm calling it SharePoint, but I think there's other implementations of SharePoint other than what we're using at my level.
Well, the only experience I had with it was the last job I worked, and we had like, I don't know, 1,500 people in the company.
Yeah.
And they had their own servers, and they ran SharePoint on their own servers.
Yeah. Yeah. That's something I don't want to touch. I have had a little bit of exposure to that in the past, and it's been a nightmare. It was for Exchange Server. When I took over the support for a company and they were hosting their own Exchange Server in-house, and the people who set that up were not managing it. So within a year, I had them migrated away from that because there was just nobody that was technically around to properly manage that. And it was a 5-person office. That just doesn't make any sense to me at all.
The place I worked, we had like 6 or 8 dedicated IT people.
Right. That would be.
Some of them were dedicated to the Exchange server and the SharePoint server and whatever else Microsoft calls all of their stuff, that the vertical integration with all your computers.
Yeah, you have to have dedicated people when you're doing that level of on-site stuff, because those are vulnerable to attack. Those that a Microsoft's Exchange server or SharePoint server in your office, if you make that accessible to the outside at all, there are vulnerabilities there, and it's an attack vector, and you have to have not only people to just manage and administrate it, but also you're probably going to have a full-time IT security person. Okay, so that was Sam's first of 3. Did we cover that question enough? Pretty much?
Yeah,
Okay.
understand. Also, one other thing, any recommendations on programs?
Oh, that's right, like Time Machine.
Yeah, correct.
The Apple Time Machine, I've had some experience with it. I've had also experience with recovering from it. Yep. I think that there are, Time Machine-like programs for the PC, but I have not looked into them.
Okay.
I don't feel any pain point that would cause me to want to do that, because it's basically what I'm concerned about is backups. Yep. In the Apple environment, Time Machine is their way of doing backups. It's really, really good. I admire it a lot. But I think the problem with implementing something like that in the PC world is that the PC world is not a closed ecosystem the way Apple is. Yep. Time Machine knows about every piece of software that somebody might be using.
Yep.
Because it all goes through Apple. And okay,
if a related question here.
All right.
Does not Windows have provisions to save multiple versions of files?
Oh, certainly. And OneDrive is awesome.
That's not really Time Machine, right, but it lets you go back to earlier versions of stuff.
Right.
Yep.
Now, is that restricted to having it on something like OneDrive or SharePoint when you do that?
Well, there's also
I know, like you can't have autosave turned on in Word now unless the file is on OneDrive at home.
There's also shadow copy, which I've had a little bit of interaction with, that will locally, my experience with that's been on the server, allow you to restore an older version of a file. You can go back to a particular point in time. With OneDrive, you can go back to a particular point in time for a version of a file. So that's very similar to Apple's Time Machine. Seems like there was a component of that I was going to say, and it slipped my mind.
Well, let me ask you one other quick thing.
Yeah.
you worked with SharePoint for some of your clients.
Yeah.
If they save their files in SharePoint, can they still do autosave with Word and Excel?
Yes, I'm pretty sure of
I would
that.
assume they could. I mean, that's
Yeah.
another Microsoft product.
Yeah, and
It doesn't
and
say
it's
that when I look in Word. I mean, I have Office Professional, whatever, and it doesn't say anything about that. But I would assume if you're in a corporate environment that, and like the last place I worked, you're supposed to save all of your files on the company server.
right.
You saved it on your local machine and your machine crashed, they tended to look down upon this.
Yeah. So definitely, yes, SharePoint does that same thing, but it takes it one level higher because SharePoint is very, very much similar to maybe the same engine underneath the covers as OneDrive. But the extra thing with SharePoint, and you can't even do this with OneDrive, is for multiple people to be working on the same Microsoft Word document at the same time. When somebody types in changes, it shows up on the other people's screen. And if you have the settings in Microsoft Word just right, it will show you out on the right-hand margin who added that text. So to keep track of who added what or who took out what in the document.
That's convenient, but that to me would be fraught with potential conflict.
Yeah, yeah. And it's in an environment where the users have to understand what's happening. And that's done in a level of company where you send your end users to training, or you provide training to them to teach them how to do these things. None of my clients, not one of them, provide training to their users for how their software systems operate. The only thing that happens on occasion is when when an individual in the company asks me how to do something and I show them how to do it, but there's no structured training.
Is that a potential revenue source for you or for training?
Well, it is if I felt I wanted to do that. That's not something that appeals to me at all.
Yep.
I've had conversations with clients about doing some training, creating video training for them, or doing live training sessions, and it, with a couple of exceptions, has never really happened. I have had people in a conference room at a client's office where I give them pretty much a one-off training for something.
There are areas on things like Word and Excel, for example, where I think training could be useful.
Yeah.
I've never been comfortable with Word. I was a Word Perfect user way back in the day, and I got very accustomed to it, and I liked a lot of the features in it. But I learned in my last two jobs that you can't really do well with Word unless you understand what they call styles.
Right. Right.
And styles are not simple to understand if you're trying to be self-taught.
Yeah. Now, to give an example, I have contemplated teaching styles to clients, and for some of the people in the office, they'll go, "Oh, wow, this is the greatest thing ever." Other people in the office who would never use that or never do that don't care about it. So it's difficult to come to an understanding of who in the office would benefit from what features, because I don't get enough of an exposure to what they're doing to advise on that. And I have considered it at times, suggesting to my clients that, hey, let me just hang out with one of your users and see what they're doing during their day. And I think that I can come up with some ways to improve methods and give you some great time savers. One of the senior attorneys, he was every month he had to process the income for the company and decide which partners get how much money, and it was very, very complex math for him to do. Well, I created it's all within, let's see, did I do Excel? I think that was all within Microsoft Word. I just configured formulas so that, yeah, it was all in Word. So in some charts. So he just types in the amounts coming in and it automatically calculates all the various different percentages. The partners don't each get, like if one partner might get 10% of the cases from case number such and such to case number such and such. He might get a different percentage of cases that came in from a certain date to a certain date or were assigned to a certain department. So it's very complex for the senior attorney to calculate all of the revenue that should go to each of the 5 different partners. And when I created that Microsoft Word document for him, that all he has to do is put in the numbers that come from the different departments and it just gives him all the results. It cut out hours and hours of time that he had to spend every month and was a huge time savings.
Ask you what happened to all of the fractions of pennies lost to rounding error? Did those go in a separate slush fund someplace?
Oh, no, what we did there is we picked one of the attorneys that would get the rounding errors. So there was a particular attorney that when his share was calculated, what it did is it took the total number that was due all the partners and it subtracted the amount that each of the other partners got so that he got the remainder. And that just automatically took care of.
I would have thought you could have set that up to go to IT support or something.
That's my tip. Yeah.
Well, I don't know what Word does. When I do money calculations with Excel, after whatever calculation is done, I usually round it to 2 significant figures right then.
Okay.
And that seems to add everything up okay. I've not had any issues with that. I mean, when you total up all the stuff.
Yeah,
I won't guarantee that there's no way not to have an issue, but
that was actually one of the problems we had because we didn't start out with that method that I just described for taking care of the fractional amounts. But we had a column that was adding up the numbers one direction. We had a column adding up the numbers through all the totals on the bottom row, and they did not match. And he called me back after he was playing around with us. Hey, he said this month these numbers didn't match. You know, oh yeah, it's rounding error. So then we came up with that other method of doing the rounding. If you round off the individual smaller values, you have a greater potential of sometimes not coming up with the right grand total.
yeah, Excel has at least 3, maybe more rounding functions. One of them just rounds up or down like you would normally do in your head. If it's over half a cent, it goes up. If it's less, it goes down. But you also have round up and round down functions, which I don't use usually.
Yeah. So back on that prior topic about programs in Windows to be like Time Machine. There's Rollback RX, EaseUS To Do Backup. Have you already looked at those?
I've looked at similar. So Mini Partition Wizard have a program which does backup, which I might try out. That's an idea.
That does backup what?
It backs up computers. So the program called Mini when they have their own backup software. Might try that.
All right. But does that give you different points in time that you can restore back to?
Yep.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
Now, even for instance, with Macrium Reflect, I'll have a full backup to be scheduled to be done. Maybe, well, by default, it does the first Monday of the month. And then after that, it does differential backups in the free version. If you have the paid version, you can do differential backups and incremental backups. And that's a very easy way to restore to any particular point in time. You just go pick the incremental or differential for the date that you want to restore to. When you restore to that, it automatically includes all of the upper level backups that are needed to accomplish that restore. Okay, let's move on. Sam, bringing the topics today with a second question.
Yep.
Do you have any recommendations on photo scanners? Yes. Where I can feed in loose photos? Mom wants to archive old photos. So two places I turn for that is the scanner that I really like is ScanSnap. I'm using that with a lot of clients. It's fast, it's easy to use, it takes multiple sheets, and they have many different models to choose from. Now, sometimes they feel a little expensive because you can buy a multifunction printer, scanner, copier for less money, but they are never as fast or as convenient to use as these scans. Well, that's an Epson. Now, I have not compared ScanSnap to Epson, but ScanSnap seems more focused on this kind of scanning. So it works really fast. They have some that are specifically designed for working with photographs. And the thing about this type of scanner is it's not going to bend the photo the way that if you put multiple sheets into a automatic feeder of a scanner, that of a typical multifunction scanner, it's going to bend the some of them will bend the source material. So that's one method, but the method that I personally use is this. And I have done this a few times. It's Kodak. It's using their service. I don't do it myself at all because it takes too much time. And their service, I find it to be very affordable. When there's a problem media, they can fix it. They do fix it. They'll just automatically, because they have such volume that they do, there's many types of problems with source content that they will fix. So what happens in this big shipping box is you get this digitizing box, and you can populate this box, put stuff in this box. They can be photos, negatives, reel-to-reel film, Super 8. They can be individual photos that are on paper, and you get a consistent cost each time you send in one of these boxes, and it comes back. It seems to me like it's been a while since I did it. I want to say that it was a few weeks. You know, of course, they're going through all of this material, and they give you email responses when they start working on it. If there's problems that are beyond their ability to deal with or is going to cost more, they will communicate with you, although I've never had that happen. So I've done
Jim KJ3 and said doing it yourself is a time sink. Ask me how I know.
Yeah, it is. It takes a tremendous amount of time. Always takes more than you think it's going to take. So I like this a lot. It's hard for me to imagine how a person can justify doing it themselves, especially if you have multiple different types of media where you have to buy a different machine for each type of media. Here's the original, one of my dad's video cassettes. He had all kinds of different media from multiple different video cameras that we had while I was growing up. This one's a different size. This is also video. There's also cassette videos and DVDs, CDs. They give you this book that gives the instructions how to do it. They make it really easy to ship to them and receive back. So
let me ask you, Doug, will they handle photographs that have curled up somewhat?
I think that's a yes. I can't really promise you that.
When we had a garage fire a few years ago, a bunch of old photo albums that were in boxes there survived the fire, but they got wet from the fire department. And the company that was hired to clean up and restore things afterwards told me, they said, we for what the insurance company is paying us, we can't take care of all your photos in those old albums. But here's what you need to do. They said, go ahead and completely soak all of the pages in the album. Then get the photos out and leave them out to dry, but they will curl up. And then later you'll have to figure out how to slowly flatten them so you can scan them. So I have a bunch of photos that were, I mean, these are old black and white photos going back 60, 70 years, some of them. And I've got like 3 big boxes of them, and they're just all in there loose. But if you don't try to uncurl them correctly, you're going to break them. I've been thinking about maybe getting a box where you could increase the relative humidity in the box, because I live in the desert. And then when they get a little bit more flexible, maybe very gradually flatten them out. But if there's somebody I could pay to do this who knows what they're doing, might be useful.
Yeah, I was just looking through here to see if I can spot where they tell about.
And maybe I should just go to their website and then email them the question.
I have a question, Doug.
Go ahead.
Doug, you've used this service, you said.
Yeah.
Anyone who scans any photographs will know that dust is the #1 enemy. So you have to make sure that the photo that you're going to scan has no dust on it. And you also have to make sure that the machine is relatively dust free. Otherwise, you know, your digitized results is going to show every little speck of dust on it. So what's the quality of what you're getting back from Kodak as far as dust is concerned?
In response to that, I'll show this thing that I'm showing right here. All analog media is professionally digitized by hand in our state-of-the-art facility. I recollect something where they told about that they clean the media when needed. Our exclusive tracking technology, yada, yada. Now this says 10 to 12 weeks. That could be. It is possible that I misremembered it that much. And perhaps may depend upon how busy they are at the time and how much different content you have. Fill your Kodak digitizing box with any brand of tapes, photos, film reels, and audio. In a few weeks, you receive your conveniently converted memories, digital, DVD, or in the cloud, along with your originals. Every Kodak digitizing box includes a welcome guide, yada, yada. Quality runs on our DNA. Historic tradition, following footsteps. I'm looking for something that tells about dealing with damaged media, what we can digitize. I don't think this is going to tell us that. This is just showing the different kind of media. Oh, they can even take thumb drives and cell phones. I doubt that means they can unlock a phone that you don't have a code for.
And I would assume on any old photographs that they don't do photo restorations, such as a photo that comes in that has a
I have an
severe
Epson Perfection V600 that cost me $300. Handles negatives and paper photos. Software can make some corrections automatically, or you can manually adjust. Took months.
Okay, this is Jim telling about his experience of doing it himself. The machine cost him $300, but it took him months to do it. Yeah, software can make some corrections.
Yep.
Yeah, so sorry, while that speaker bot's going through, I can't understand what you're saying.
Right. Well, I had scanned a bunch of shoe boxes of old photographs, such as everyone else is talking about. But the problem that I came across is many of these old photographs were damaged. So you get into an individual restoration on each photo, which you're going to be using Photoshop or some other photo editing software. And that's what takes a lot of time. There's tears in a photograph. I mean, corners are completely missing, and you have to try to restore that. And I would assume Kodak might offer that for an additional fee.
Yeah, I think that is true. I'm looking around for something that would answer those questions, and I'm not quite finding it, and I don't see a chat line here. Let's see what we get down here. Reviews facts, frequently asked questions. That should be it, right? And next would be contact us. Box sizes, convert sound on film. Will you restore, enhance, or improve my items in any way? We always try to get the best. Whoops, that's not the one I wanted. There. The best quality conversion possible. However, the quality of the transfer ultimately depends upon the quality of the original items. We do not offer any sort of restoration, enhancement, or editing of your items. If there is an issue with the original, those issues will translate over to the digital copies. Yeah, I could not have told you that. So that is their answer on that point. My mouse disappeared. Where is it? It's right there. Okay. To be more specific, we do not offer color correction, brightening, yada, yada, yada. So that really answers your question there, right? How do I need to pack my photos? What if one of my items is blank, damage, cannot? Great question. Is not uncommon for a tape to be blank, a film reel to be damaged, or for customers to send items that we actually aren't able to transfer. Our team will keep you updated via email every step of the way, and also include a custom sticker to any applicable items for easy identification. That doesn't really answer the question. Do they charge for those that turned out to be damaged too much? I've never had that happen. Contiguous United States. Do not ship outside of that. So now, in light of your situation, Sam, is that of any interest to your people, or are they going to want to?
Yeah, potential using the same kind of service, but in Australia.
As Vimana said, in what quality do they scan images?
I've received them back in really high quality. Let's see, what can I grab? That there's two things that I was about to grab in response to Sam's comment there for my prior orders, because I want to tell you how much I've paid. Let's see, here I have these three emails when I just searched for Kodak.
Yep.
That looked like, I think that's 2020. Must be. How did our support team do? Additional payment. Let's see, I know I've sent more than one round with them. That's September 10th, September 9th, September 10th, and September 12th. Let me take a look at the detail in here. I was expecting to be finding a price to let you know what it was, and it looks like these emails talk about a balance due and that I paid it, but it doesn't say what the cost was. Here's one telling me a download link is ready in 2021, so that's a different date. We've uploaded digital files to this link. I decided that I just wanted them digitally, that I didn't want them sending me media, because if they sent me media, I was gonna then have to transfer it. And so I just did the digital and did the download, and I downloaded it to a location on my computer. I think it's in my, I think I keep that in my Google Drive rather than my OneDrive. All right. Hello, Jim. Any opening comments from you?
Other than I seem to be getting an echo of Zoom audio.
Do you? Anybody else in Zoom getting echoing?
Doesn't seem too bad. Fine to me.
Was that
When
a
you
yes?
speak, Doug, it almost, you get that little effect like you're almost down a well. Not quite.
Yeah, I'm not getting it from anybody else. I think it's just coming from you, Doug, for some reason.
Oh, wait. Let me check and see what microphone that I'm currently on.
Maybe you're in a car park or something. That's what it reminds me of.
Okay. I'm on the right microphone. My graphic audio indicator shows me going right.
It's not translating to YouTube. I'm just hearing it in Zoom.
Oh,
Ran Israel said YouTube video gone.
Yeah, YouTube video was gone for a little bit while I was looking at audio sources. Actually, I got a way to, I came up with a way to fix that. Let me go see if I can do that. If I go to showing my audio sources scene, which by default doesn't have any video. If I go to that scene, I put in a video so that I can, let's see, where was it? Here.
ZV Manor said black on black.
Yeah, so this is so that I can show you what's going on in my audio scene, but you're not seeing the top of it. So to fix that, I need to go there, and if I shrink this down and then Alt, oh, no, that's all I got apparently. So I did a OBS scenes. In order to fix that, I would have to go over back to audio sources. So this is a way that I came up with to show the changes that I made recently. So I no longer have my system audio. I've disabled system audio. I do all of my audios specifically. So the only audio that comes through is what I've specifically programmed. So this scene is called audio sources. When I go to any of my other scenes, they have a nested scene for the audio sources. So that's how audio shows up on all of those. Now, I know I lost a great deal of the audience in describing that. Now I just went back to my camera one, but you're not seeing me because I have to turn off that OBS scene on that scene so that I can show my camera or my monitor.
There's, like I said, it's not translating onto YouTube. It's just for some reason only here. So
oh, you know what? I'm going to turn on the Zoom recording for a little bit. That way I can go back. Recording in progress. I can go back and hear it later. So Zoom is recording right now. I can stop that recording after a little bit. It's getting some of my voice right now, and that is probably enough. Except I'll let it capture some of your voices first for comparison.
Well, I don't know. Like I said, if it's not there as far as the YouTube stream is concerned. It's like you have two microphones turned on in Zoom. It's kind of what it seems like.
And that's actually possible because I have the microphone that I use, and let's see, I can display this by showing my monitor number 3, turn off the picture-in-picture. Here's my list of audio devices. The microphone that I'm using in Zoom is the cable output VB audio virtual cable, and that's a software component that combines SpeakerBot and my microphone. So that's the sound that is going into Zoom. If I were to choose my microphone, which is right here, then in Zoom you would not be able to hear SpeakerBot.
Right.
So is this my cable output somehow from OBS? Is it sending a double signal out? To check that, I'll look that audio. Let's see, can I show you this? If I show my monitor number 2, you're seeing right here the filters. For my microphone, I have this filter called audio monitor, and that's what this VB audio driver allows me to do. So my microphone is sending its output to the VB audio virtual cable. And if I go look at my SpeakerBot audio source filters, it's also sending out to the VB virtual audio cable. That wouldn't be a double. Let's see, I guess you can't see that. I got to move it down here so you can see it. I have my camera 1 pasted over the OBS output so we don't get that mirror in mirror effect when I'm showing this screen. All right. That got into the weeds.
Squirrel.
Yeah. But it's how to make the computers do more for you or fix things that aren't working right. So it's totally justified for the intended content of my channel. Squirrel in the sense of we weren't planning to go there. Okay, so photo scanners where I feed in loose photos. Mom wants to archive old photos. I think we covered that sufficiently.
Yep.
Hit my ad break buttons. 7C. Do you know of any good third-party scanning software for Windows, as my Epson software is terrible? Mac OS scanning is fine from Apple. I have only ever used the scanning software that's included with scanners. I have noticed that they have different conveniences or inconveniences for my clients, and I just train them for how they want to use it because they typically want to use it in a certain way. So I'll
read chat, please.
Get to that in a moment. I see that, Rand. And
ZV Manor said I recently mentioned the NAPS 2 software for scanning.
Okay, we'll go to that in a moment. I'll finish this thought. I typically configure their scanning software so that it by default scans PDF and defaults to a particular folder where those will be stored. Then they use a shortcut on their desktop to access that scanned image, and then they drag it to whatever work-related folder that they want to utilize. So now we'll go look at those. We'll go look at those. ZV Manor recommended vendor independent. Recently mentioned NAPS 2 software for scanning. I'll use this technique on the 3-dot menu to go to channel activity. That's going to show his mentions on this stream. If I go to this arrow on the right, it gets me all of his mentions in today's stream. Recently mentioned NAPS 2. You tried. Yeah. I'm not sure that it actually did include everything there. So that shows 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9 things from ZV today. I'm not convinced that did get all of them. This shows there's 13. Well, no, that's not his comments.
ZV Manor said not today.
Oh, it wasn't today that he mentioned it. Yeah, so that was showing us everything. He recently mentioned NAPS 2 software for scanning. So let's go do a Google search because Google is your friend. NAPS 2 documents, scan documents to PDF. So You know what? I think I remember him saying that, and I responded with, why would I want to do that? And his reply was, if you have multiple different scanners. Now, to support his point, if I were to get acquainted with this, that means I could use this on all my clients' different type scanners instead of me struggling to figure my way around all these different scanning softwares. This might be like the fourth or fifth thing that Zavi has brought up that I initially dismissed as I'm not interested, that maybe I should be, because there's been others that I have eventually warmed up to. Naps, not another PDF scanner. So it's but it's specifically for PDFs, which that's typically all my clients want to do.
The document scanning, that's what I want.
Well, PDF is a document, so
exactly.
But that has to do with your resulting image as opposed to photos. You would you might want to store as in a photo format.
Yeah, correct.
So having a consistent configuration that I wouldn't have to relearn every time that I am faced with a different scanner, that is quite attractive. All right, Zavi, I think that's 50,855 points.
Award the man both ears and a tail.
Say again?
I said award the man both ears and a tail.
Both ears and a tail. For the squirrel? Is that ears and tail? I think that might be a reference I'm not getting.
Forget it, Doug. Forget it.
Forget it. It went over my head.
Yeah, it did.
All right. Microsoft link for Windows scan.
Oh, don't get me started. That program's shocking.
So you have tried to solve the issue with that one, right?
Yep, I've tried it. It's worse than the Epson software. I've got an older Epson.
Zvi Manor said no more points. The basket is full.
Okay, Zavi.
Yeah, the Microsoft one's worse than the Epson software. If I have an up-to-date Epson, then I wouldn't have this issue because I have a new version of the software for their newer printers and scanners.
All right. Lawn Dog asks, what is it specifically you're looking for in the scanning software?
Literally just scanning documents through the document feeder, double-sided, maybe optical character recognition, so OCR, maybe some rotation correction if it's a bit crooked. Pretty much it.
All right. Well, I'm guessing you'll look at that software that naps to and see how it works for you.
I'll try it again. Yep.
Did you say you'll try it again?
Yeah, I've tried it once, but I found it a bit clunky and a bit off, so I decided to look somewhere else.
Okay. How long ago was that?
About 6 months to a year ago. Hasn't been a while.
All right. All right. Well, you might follow up with me to see if I've tried it out. I don't really have a pain point. It's not very often that I have to deal with scanning. However, I've got to set up a lot of replacement computers for an office, and I'm actually working on that master root image that I've told you about. So those computers are going to be used for multiple different scanning circumstances. Could that be a way of bringing everything to standardized? I might explore that. And because of that, that's billable time. Just exploring it. Okay. Has anybody asked for other subjects that are in my list? Don't make me look through all of the chat to find it. If you did have something in my list that you want to hear about, then ask for it again. So that ET3850, that's software specifically for that device, I think. Epson, yeah. I'll go look at topics and see if there's something that I was really wanting to cover today. How are we doing? 35 minutes to go. Oh, that was in response. Yeah, that's what we talked about. That wasn't my list. We dealt with the Macrium Reflect. The outlet glitch. Oh, Brian had an answer for the 3 + 3 + 3 = 10 that I demonstrated yesterday, where I showed in Excel adding 3 + 3 + 3 comes up with 10. Not the number most of you think would happen. So here's that spreadsheet. If I come up here to the view menu and choose zoom to selection, that'll make it bigger real quick and easy. So in Excel, you start a formula with the equal sign, and then there's multiple different ways to populate the formula. I'm going to do B1 plus sign B2 plus sign B3, press enter, and we get 10. So I've got an email from Brian. I'll go bring that up as he speculates on why. Turn that guy off. Get this. I don't know the exact reason why your version of Excel comes up with a calculation of 10 instead of 9, but for a number of years, the usual answer to incorrect calculations, such as this, pointed to the use of the wrong format for the cells. By default, Excel assumes the format to be general, but that can cause problems, especially when large numbers are used. Your incorrect answer might also be related to floating point arithmetic used by computer. IEEE 754 standard used to represent floating point numbers as close as practical possible. For example, 2/3 is commonly represented as 0.67 instead of such and such, never ending. I am attaching a worksheet of my version of Excel, which shows the calculation done usually using formatted cells as general, numbered, and text. Surprisingly, the current version of Excel gives the correct answer for current version gives the correct answer for all formats, but I suspect the text format will cause problems in a lot of other calculations. I also suspect Excel team at Microsoft has been working on various methodologies to give accurate results as best as possible in releases. Yeah, meet that. Okay, thank you, Gary. I would suggest that you format your cells to number with no decimals. That will not solve the problem. Then recalculate. If it gives the correct answer, then we have identified the problem. User error in properly formatting the cells. You're a little bit on point, but not quite nailed it. Let's go see what we got here. All right, so here's showing 333 is 9, 333 is 9. Oh, these different formats. Okay, so I'm giving somebody in chat a chance to figure that one out. It's pretty simple. Oh, is Tim Cruz here today? Yeah, he is. Yeah, Tim, if you're able to come into Zoom, I'd like to hear how you fixed your speaker issue. I'll go say hello to Gary. Hello, Gary.
Hello.
See, we got 3 columns, 3 rows there. Let me find out in advance, do you have some topics that you usually like to bring up at the end of the show?
A couple, but no biggies.
All right, then we'll move along here and see how we do. Let's see. Okay, so still nobody has come up with the right answer to
How
Excel.
about number of column decimal points, integers?
Maybe you're close. Say that again.
Displaying one integer instead of the floating point.
Okay, well, let me go show what format this column has. This column currently has number and 0 decimal places.
That's it.
That's it. If I give, let's give 2 decimal places, then you can see the value that's actually contained in those cells is 3.3. So, and I've come across, I've done a lot of very, very complex spreadsheets, and I've come across things when dealing with formulas and functions and doing complex calculations where something doesn't add up right. And very often it would be tracked back to where the value in a cell doesn't quite match with what's visually seen in the cell or what we're displaying to the user.
And actually, another problem you'll have is if you round all the way down, if it rounds all the way down and you have that 10, if you go across, you have that same problem. It'll only take the value in the final calculation if you, do a cross addition.
Yeah.
So if you did A4, B4, C4, it would take the 10, across. It wouldn't take the 9.99.
Yeah. Now, if I take this and if I used a round function and I round that off at 0 decimal places, then the value that I originally put into that cell is 3.3. But if I'm actually using the round function and use that in each of these cells, then the value is actually 3, even though the number that I put in there is 3.3. Now, if we actually had a formula that was referencing a cell, that's where it becomes more weird to the user, where the user might put in 3.3, but in the location where we're doing the calculations, we're using a round function. And so it actually rounds off the value of what's contained in that cell, and you come up with a total that you're not expecting. So spreadsheets are fun for your average Doug. It takes a Doug to consider that fun. Now, Greg M saying octal rather than decimal arithmetic. I'm not even sure what that means. Octal. Is anybody in Zoom going to explain that to me? Doug, explain it to me.
It's just base 8 arithmetic.
Oh, is that is? Base 8. Oh, okay. Binary. Oh, why didn't you say binary? Base 8 rather than base 10. Oh, well, that's not binary. Binary is base 2. Base 8 means you, in each position, you go from 0 to 7, and then you start over again. You carry the 1 to the next column, then go up to 7, right? Isn't that what base 8 would be?
Yeah.
Who does that? Who does base 8? Where is that used?
There were some older computers that used to do octal arithmetic from Digital Corporation.
Oh. Never been involved with that. Have we heard from Tim Cruz? Explanation of how he's fixed his speaker issue. Is he not present anymore? And he's in today with official Tim Tech channel.
Actually, in base 8, that would be 11 or 1-1.
11 in octal would equal decimal 8, right?
Right. So no, the rounding, the 10 showing would actually 333 would actually be 1-1 in base 8, not 1-0.
Oh, okay. Because it adds up to 9 for us. It would be 1-1. Yeah, so 1-1 is actually 9 rather than 8, right?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, I understand now why he said that. Yeah, because it goes from 0 to 7, and then add one more, then that puts a 1 in this position. So that would be 8. Do 1, 1, that would be 9. Got it.
Then just a point, you might want to stop the recording of Zoom.
Oh, thank you. Jeez, way too long.
Recording stopped.
Thank you. Did you? Yeah, you heard the audio that said recording stopped, right?
Yes.
In Zoom. Did YouTube hear that audio message that recording was stopped just a minute ago? Let me know. Greg says yes. Danielle, I recall there's, let's do that. Got voices in my ear.
Yes,
again.
affirmative.
Thank you. Daniel says, I recall there's a standard related to scanning utilities called Twain. Yeah. The last time I checked, the Fujitsu ScanSnap scanners did not support Twain. Okay. I would suspect that scanning software that Zavid told us about would probably handle multiple different types of scanners. That's why he said he likes it. So they would include Twain. And would they include copy machines? You know what? I don't think that'd be relevant because all the copy machine scanning my clients do starts with the buttons on the copier, and they just scan straight to PDF into a folder, either on the server or on the end user's computer or on a hard drive on the copy machine. So there's no need for any software to be used at the end user's computer for that. Greg M. Another good software that is commercial is ViewScan. Zvi says there is a 5-code bit in teleprinters named Bodo code or Bodo. Yeah, I think silent T. Do you mean 5-bit code? Software does the scanning that you want to manipulate. ViewScan from a website called Hamrick. Works for Mac, Windows, and Linux. All right, I think we've gone far enough on scanning. Let's see, we did that Excel math. That was probably somewhere around...
Zvi Manor said yellow paper in output.
Yeah, it was probably around 120, I'll guess. And yellow, Z is saying yellow paper in output. I do not understand. Does that have to do with 5-code bit in teleprinters? Invented by Emile Bodo, binary code which uses crosses and dots. That feels like as far as I'm interested in that.
Chris Garrett said giddy up a mama.
Thank you so much, Chris. That's got to be some kind of impersonation or impression of a giddy up, a giddy up, a giddy. Oh yeah, I know it's yeah. What was that Oak Ridge Boys? Bapa mama. Yeah. All right, I got it. We did not need to hear Doug trying to do that. We haven't heard from Tim Cruz, so I guess he's not watching anymore. Or not able. Does Windows Fax and Scan still available in Windows 11? Yeah, somebody gave it to us in the store. Here's a scan app that's on my computer. I have no idea why it's there. Yeah, that looks like it's Windows Scan. Wants me to connect a scanner. Yeah, I don't want to go down that road.
Maybe right. Tim Cruz is not here because he couldn't hear you because his speaker is not working.
Yeah. Well, he told us that he got it fixed, but he hasn't told us how. Gary, go ahead. What you got?
Yeah, it's a wild one that actually Ubuntu or Linux does correctly. If you have IP4 and IP6 enabled, there's a lot of companies now that are getting two IPs, IP6 and IP4, points to the same server on your server, your DNS. So if you have IP6 enabled on your PC, you'll go and get a DNS for IP6. Windows will take the IP6 and not get an IP4 for you. There's some software that is only using IP4 ports, and it'll bomb because it'll only see IP6. It'll say there's no network available. And we're using that on checking containers on, well, remote sites, but kind of a Windows problem, but it was hard coded and they were not selecting ports. So
I have encountered that or something related to it where a client trying to do something with a website that was not working for them, and I disabled IPv6 and it solved their problem. I think. I can't quite put my memory on it, but when you start talking about that, that sounds so familiar that I'm certain that I fixed.
Yep, it's only when they have, because Microsoft is one, but I mean, that wasn't the company, but they have an IP6 and IP4, and it points to the same Microsoft server. And Windows will grab IP6 and say, I don't care about IP4. Don't need it. Got IP6.
Yeah. I'm inclined to think it was a client who is using a web-based software that would take more interaction than just a website. And they were able to get to the website, but they weren't able to do whatever they needed to do once they got there. And that your explanation would make sense, that the connection was made through IPv6 and that site needed IPv4 in order to do its work. That sounds plausible.
We actually, I mean, I didn't, but we actually got to the programmer level with them, and they said, oh, we hard-coded stuff. Oops.
Whoever imagined that there would be anything other than IPv4.
Exactly. That's how old it is, the software.
Yeah.
I mean, it's basically, it's old green screen that's now a Windows app. That's how old it is.
Well,
anybody knows what green screen is.
Yeah, and I'm suspecting that the website that my client was dealing with was a government-based web software, because that's typically older than the newer vertical market software, and the newer vertical market software is better about keeping themselves up to date with technology. The government sites, not so much.
They were probably hitting an old DB2 database written in COBOL.
Could be. All right. Do you have a second topic?
No, that was the fun one. No.
All right.
Don't do it.
All right. Then I'm going to go back and look at my list, because I came across the one thing that I wanted to follow up on with the 3 + 3 + 3. This Outlook glitch was really, really fascinating to me. And I do have pictures available. I would have to do some blurring. That's a little bit ambitious to do that now. Let's go look at some more stuff in here. Look at that. Ken Stout open invitation. He's not here, so I'm not going to mention that now. Oh, Macrium Reflect backup errors. I think I've had that around for a long time, and it's pretty simple to show. And I have, I've been avoiding fixing this just so that I could show it. It's a pretty simple problem and solution. If I could tape the word reflect correctly. Oh, I haven't told you the most important thing. Reserve, start, discuss, redirect at the end of this stream. So I was supposed to say that, tell you about that at the beginning, and supposed to tell you about that at the end. I have a redirect set up. It's not to Carrie Holzman, it's to my own live stream. And let's see, I'm going to show it to you. I am going to do another live stream after this one finishes. It is an unlisted live stream. It's going to remain unlisted because it is not the type of content that I want this channel to be known for, and I don't want to confuse the YouTube algorithm. So I'm going to get a shareable link from that and put that into chat, but you'll get a redirect for it. Next live stream, and paste that. And it is currently scheduled for 1:30 my time, which is 45 minutes from now. But I'm not going to wait until 1:30 my time. I'll start it as soon as I'm able to after ending this stream. Let's see if I go back into here. Yeah, it's scheduled for 1:30. But I can start that at any time. And I'll start that as soon as I can after this stream. It's about half an hour long, and all it is me driving back from the cabin. It's half an hour long. There's no dialogue. There is the ASMR sound of the car, what you hear from the car. Is that the right acronym? The reason why I'm doing this is because you've heard me talk recently about how long it takes for the replay of chat to populate after a live stream. On my half-hour shows during the week, it takes about 20 hours for that to repopulate. On my 2-hour stream on Saturdays, it takes between 1 hour to 2 hours. And I care about it because one of the things that I want to do after a show is to populate the end screens. I have plans for that. And that seems to be correlated to the chat population. These items here, subtitles, end screen, and cards, are grayed out, usually until the time that chat replay becomes available. But yesterday when I had that false start, that short 3-minute video, chat became immediately available, even though subtitles and end screen was not yet available. I care about this because when this takes 20 hours, it means I can't fix the end screen, the clickable end screens until the next day. And by then, the people who weren't able to watch live have probably already watched the show. Now I have plans for different end screens than what you've seen me do in the past that I think can have an impact on the growth of my channel. So that's why I care about it. Now, on that live stream that's going to run after this show is over, I do not want a whole lot of chat, just a little bit of chat. And I don't care if anybody watches it. All I care about is doing a half-hour stream. After this 2-hour stream, what I think is going to happen is the chat replay for this 2-hour stream is going to become available before the following half-hour stream becomes available, even if it has less chat. That's weird. But then we are dealing with YouTube. Things are weird. I care about this because if I can figure this out, it might make things easier for me in what I'm trying to accomplish with building this channel. So,
Hey, Doug,
yeah.
I got a quick question. I am not am not a OneDrive at all expert. But if you're one of your clients and you use OneDrive with them, lose their hard drive, okay, and you restore from an image from 3 or 4 weeks ago, and they're an active user, how does that work with the synchronization with OneDrive?
It's pretty easy. OneDrive sees what's currently in the OneDrive folder. When you sign into OneDrive on the restored computer, well, actually, you don't even need to sign into it. It just looks to see what's on your drive and looks to see what's on the cloud storage, and it synchronizes them. It's the same impact to OneDrive as if I shut down my laptop and don't turn it on for 3 months. When I turn it back on, it's still configured to synchronize with OneDrive, and it just synchronizes.
But okay, what I'm asking, maybe, yeah, okay, but in the 3 weeks, they've added 300 documents, and all of a sudden those documents are not in your OneDrive folder on the PC. Does it put them back to the PC or get rid of them on OneDrive?
It puts them on the PC. Definitely.
So
I have experienced that.
Okay, so it knows you didn't purposely delete them.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. Now here's another variation on what you're asking. Let's say we have computer 1, computer 2, and computer 3, all using OneDrive. Computer 3 is shut off for a couple months. In the meantime, computer 1 has deleted some files that are included in the OneDrive content. When computer 3 gets turned on, those files will get deleted from computer 3. If I discover that, oh no, I want that file back, well, I can go to OneDrive to recover it within a certain period of time. But if computer number 3 has been off for 2 years, I can turn it on and prevent it from connecting to the internet and be able to recover that file from there.
But so what you're saying, if it's what I'm talking more of the restore, but you don't have to do anything, or you have to make sure it doesn't start syncing and get rid of the files on OneDrive. Because wouldn't it just think you deleted them if you didn't do something to intervene? If you were a single user, let's say, I mean, I don't use OneDrive, but let's say I've been using OneDrive, I had 20 documents a day, blah, 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 and I go back a month, I restore the computer, start working, don't worry about it. Won't it think I just deleted all those files?
No.
Okay, cool.
No,
I didn't know that.
No, it recognizes those files exist on OneDrive. They're not on this computer. I'm assuming that OneDrive keeps track of when that computer's been on, because it synchronizes those files independently for each computer that's signed into OneDrive. So
no, I'm saying it's the same computer, but it's restored. You had a hard drive crash.
Right.
Your offline image is a month old.
Yeah.
It's the same computer to that computer, but now the files are gone.
All right. Reasonable question, but I have experienced exactly the situation you're describing, and it works fine.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. That's cool. Yeah, I'm not talking about 2 computers. I understand that.
Yeah.
And I have no issue with that.
Yeah.
And my other comment is with, I think I was fast forwarding, and Jeff, I kind of agree with Jeff, because if you do delete it on purpose, that was a bad document. Yeah, not starting over. It will delete it on OneDrive because you deleted it. So you don't really have a backup, do you? Now you will have it in the OneDrive recycle bin.
Yes.
You can go get it.
Yes. Yeah, you can get it from the OneDrive recycle bin, and let's see. I've also there's some issues, like if you delete all the files in a particular folder and delete that folder, I'm pretty sure I'm saying this correctly, that I have been able to recover the folder and recover files that were in the folder.
For a time period.
Yeah, for a time period. I want to say it's 90 days. I'm not sure. Sam, do you know that better than I? How long you have to recover from OneDrive?
Yeah, from memory, it's 30 days.
Oh, that could be. That could be.
That's similar to Google Drive.
Yeah. So, and that's the scenario where it is not a backup. It doesn't meet that need for backup. You can't go back and recover something that's been deleted 6 months after it's been deleted. So.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, I just was kind of, like I said, I don't use it. I back up locally or
Read chat,
in the
please.
house.
Okay, I'm gonna go see what Zvi is guiding me to. Did you hear the latest news? Qualcomm wants to buy Intel. I did not hear it. If it came across my eardrums, I would have dismissed it. I don't care at all about that kind of stuff. Do you have any reason why I should care? Yeah, so, yeah, no. Sorry if you thought you were bringing earth-shattering news to me, but no, I don't care. I was tempted to use stronger language, but I chose not to.
So this is basically a case of mistaken identity. He's confused you with somebody who gives a crap.
There you go. That's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah, I do not care.
No, I don't care about anything that isn't done.
Yeah, I don't. To give me a real general thing, I don't care about anything that doesn't affect my current work with my clients. If something like this Qualcomm buying Intel might have an impact on me down the road, but what that impact's going to be, I don't care. Even if I know what that impact is going to be, it's not here yet. When it comes time, then I'll have to deal with it. Now, the one thing that I did care about knowing in advance is there's a cutoff date for Windows 10. I cared very much about that because I've been preparing for that. I've been including a comment on all my invoices for about a year, giving my clients that deadline, because for a lot of businesses, that is a huge undertaking to replace all the computers in their office. And for small businesses, it's a horrendous capital expense. And I think a lot of technicians who aren't face-to-face with small business owners may easily not know that or not realize that. Rand Israel, what about the release of Office LTSC 2024? Yeah, what about it? I haven't looked at it. Office LTSC, that long-term servicing contract. I am so impressed with myself for coming up with those words for that acronym. I think that's correct. Oh, Trinidad, thank you. Awesome. That's the first time I've had a super chat in a long, long time, I think. Let's celebrate their first super on a live stream. Yay! Can I click on that and get a bunch of fireworks or something? No. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Ran Israel saying, do I care about that? No, I'm not interested in any long-term servicing contracts. Not at all. Oh, Trinidad, it's Tim. He's coming in on he came in on a different account. Anytime. You're welcome anytime. All right. Except that you can't do it at 1 a.m. tomorrow morning because I won't be doing a live stream. Oh, you could go in and do a comment with whatever they call those. So, Tim, we're wanting an explanation of how you fixed your speaker. If it's simple, just put it into chat. We're at the end of the show. What is with you and coming up with things at the end of the show? Where have you been during this show? He was in with a different name at the beginning of the show. I am not going to make you an admin under this name. That's not happening. Don't even ask. He stepped away. Yeah, let's take that on another day. It's too late now. Last call, people in Zoom. So goodbye. say goodbye. I am ending Zoom because I got something else I gotta go do.
Last call for alcohol.
Yeah.
All right, I'll take the. Whoops. Why is my thing off? Oh, because I had a different number of rows. Yeah, we won't go any further on that, Brian or Jim. Ending meeting. Thank you for coming and participating in Zoom. I really do appreciate that. I think it makes more of a good show for the audience. All right, you're out, and I'm here, and there's the email address. Let's see, convert meeting to recording. Yeah, let's see. Tim looks like he is saying something about what he did. He did a Dell image installation. That was exactly the thing that I was suggesting, but I think he got onto that before I suggested it. So he did do a Dell image restore from the website, like I think I suggested yesterday. All right, here's the email address. You can send a question or topics that you'd like me to talk about during the stream. And other than that, I've got a follow-up stream coming on that you will be redirected to if you're watching this in replay. I'm going to put another link in chat. Oh, you know what? I think, oh, no, what I want to do is I'll put it in the description of this video. Yeah, that way, since chat replay doesn't happen until a couple hours, I'm going to put that into the current stream's description. If you want to go watch it, it's just me driving through mountain roads. Follow up live stream here. Whoops, that wasn't it. Take that off. I'm not sure if that's the right link, is it? From my clipboard history, I'll find out by going over here and see if it comes up right. Does that get me to the coming stream? Yes, it does. All right, that gets it. And did I save that? You that are watching right now will have to refresh your browser before you'll see that link there. Okay, that's it. Goodbye. I'm out of here. That's all, folks. If I find the right button. That and that. All right. Have a good weekend.